please just leave the poor massive billion-dollar corporation alone. Haven't they suffered the consequences of their own actions enough? These poor Ubisoft employees do not deserve to be harassed, abused, insulted, and humiliated by the gaming audience. They get enough of that from their workplace, but Ubisoft permitting and covering up and never apologizing for years of non-consensual, no-touch developers gone wild is not what we're going to be talking about today. That's old news. They got away with it, so it's a-okay. Now, it's bigotry to criticize the massive AAA corporations. Ubisoft has absolutely for reals cancelled Assassin's Creed Clash of Clans due to backlash, which they did not receive over the game because nobody knew the game existed, including staff at Ubisoft because it never existed. In this game that never existed, you play a libertarian. That's someone who sorts books for those unfamiliar with the term, who believes he is entitled to the sweat of his brow, who LARPs a game of killing Democrats and dragons. First of all, sounds far more awesome than you know Ubisoft will make it. And second, this cancellation of a game they were never making is absolutely terrible. Sounds like a fun game that has nothing to do with politics at all. Why are they canceling a game full of male wizards but are still making their female witch game? Clearly, this is pure sexism to appeal to the femcel gooner chuds. This was all completely unpredicted. Nobody could have foreseen that the sale of Ubisoft to China would cause them to cancel games that weren't being made, and to try to start making games that people want to buy. After a big acquisition, sure, we expect some corporate value changes, but isn't trying to get Ubisoft to make good games just a little too extreme? Ubisoft devs were hoping it would be business as usual. Just clock in, talk about how much they hate capitalism, drink some lattes, free lunch from an artisanal chef, meeting at 1 p.m. then chill on the veranda until going home after a hard 6-hour shift of vibing and interpretive dance. Turns out, Chinese communists want you to work hard for the corporation and put in that effort to increase corporate value. What really worries me here is, what if China doesn't like witchcraft either? Is Assassin's Creed Hexen the next on the blocking chop? Where you cavort in the woods having nude parties with zombie goatmen? Like a woman's fiction bestseller. Gamers have long requested a through the lens of intersectional feminism, historical revisionism of the witch trials where they actually are magic-using witches, that actually are casting death hexes, but it's still bad to want to burn them at the stake. Who doesn't want to play a blue-haired land whale with repressed hatred of her father, leaping from rooftops and avoiding notice by blending into starving peasant populations? Sounds like default Game of the Year material to me. So why is this not happening? Ubisoft is pretending it does not want to cause problems in the tense America climate, after their activist developers have spent a decade calling gamers all sorts of ist-phobe, inferring everyone who disagrees with them on politics are members of certain evil groups of ists and phobes, whom they openly want to be game-ended, but now are worried the people they keep saying they openly want to die might not buy their games, which are built around killing an in-game, thinly veiled simulacrum which represents what they believe gamers to be. To translate, they think you're a bigot, they make games about killing bigots that they think you are, but now that bigots like you have stopped buying their games about killing bigots like them, they want you to stop noticing that they want you dead for being a bigot and to start buying their games about killing you. Oh, but they do still consider you a bigot, and they do still want you dead. Ubisoft definitely is the type of corporation to avoid tension, making multiple Far Cry, Division, Assassin's Creed games that feature some storyline of America/Western civilization bad. Hold up. Isn't Ubisoft a Canada corporation? Why are they so obsessed with hating America? Where's their Assassin's Creed Moose Rider game? Where's the interesting games based on Canada? Ubisoft, do they not teach you any Canadian history up there? Actually, you don't need to answer that. I have a feeling the honest answer will be really depressing and depressingly real. The best part of modern gaming discourse is how companies will constantly do things nobody wants them to do, and not do things that everyone wants them to do, and then not do things they weren't doing, only for shill influencers who don't monetarily support those companies for going against what gamers want start to blame those same gamers for the choices the corporation makes that gamers never wanted. Dropping some truthy facts for y'all. AAA gaming corporations do not care what gamers want or think. If they did, we would not have gotten AC Shadows, Forspoken, Kill the Justice League, Dustborn, Saints Row, Avengers, Tales of the Shire, Joel's Zombie Golf Simulator 2, or Concord to begin with. And they wouldn't still be making Perfect Dark, which they aren't, Marathon Fair Games Intergalactic, and Assassin's Creed Shadows 2, which they never were. Big gaming corpo happily make $50, $100 million games that all fail and flop and lose money only to celebrate in the streets when number 51 finds mild success and wins some precious industry pat-on-the-back awards. Games corporations don't care about profits, they don't care what gamers want, they don't care if nobody buys their games. They don't care if they antagonize their audience, and that's why all of them are getting sold off, facing years of record layoffs, despite the overall games industry hitting record highs. Look, you can be mad about Ubisoft canceling their game, but be mad at Ubisoft. AAA corporations are all losing their value, failing, bought up, massive layoffs, and studio closures. Games need 5 million units sold to break even. A quadruple A $500 million game, Skull and Bones, nobody wanted to buy it. Sony's franchise as big as Star Wars, $500 million, Concord, nobody bought it. And the first quadruple A studio ever making Perfect Dark, which nobody even wanted to make it. They didn't make this choice due to some backlash from a dozen chuds on Twitter. Remember, the activists have made it very clear, those chuds are a vocal minority with zero effect on a game's success. AC Shadows did super duper, so much that Ubisoft got sold to Tencent right after it flopped. Must have been so successful, the executives got tired of making money. Wait a second. They canceled this game due to AC Shadows flopping? Let's run that lie back for a moment. Apparently this game that never existed was actually canceled before Shadows came out. It was canceled last year. It has nothing to do with political climate and Assassin's Creed Shadows. It was canceled when Ubisoft was vocally very happy with the pre-orders and bragging about how Backlash was causing no problems with their sales. They made this decision because Shadows flopped before Shadows even came out, because of some political climate nonsense. Strange how that all happens, almost like the game being canceled has nothing to do with anything they said it did. But Ubisoft is such an honest and trustworthy company. Who are you going to trust? The company that enabled and covered up widespread abuse and harassment at their workplace for years? Or chronological order of events? The flow of time? Which is more trustworthy? Gonna let you in on a little secret, something I got out of Ubisoft. Breaking news, never heard of before. Here's the real reason this game is not being made. Ubisoft. That's the reason, Ubisoft. And even now, as Ubisoft games are failing over and over, wasting billions of dollars and whiffing on slam dunks with huge budgets, trying to blame everyone else for their errors. In just over a year, Ubisoft had Star Wars Outlaws, AC Shadows, Skull and Bones, X-Defiant, Avatar, and likely one or two other more that I and everyone else have totally forgot even existed. The everyone else is to blame for our decisions routine is old. It's tired, it doesn't work, nobody falls for it beyond a few Ubisoft shills. Ubisoft is responsible for the decisions Ubisoft makes, nobody else. They make politically charged games all the time, they don't care if they rile people up. Don't try and use that excuse now. It's years too late to pretend you want to be culturally sensitive and non-combative. You drop the gauntlet, just because you're French doesn't mean you need to surrender the second someone else picks it up. They didn't spend the last decade going out of their way to deliberately antagonize half of America because they care about public backlash. They always knew they were cutting off half their audience, and they were happy to post on social media they don't want you buying their games if you don't agree with every single one of their opinions. But hey, since apparently we have the power to force a massive corporation to do what we want, I will use that power to force you to like, comment, and subscribe. Hey, you have no choice. He who controls the slop controls the galaxy. So for my next act, I will force Ubisoft to make a Just Dance game without music to be accommodating towards the hearing impaired. And I apologize for absolutely nothing.